be right with you. Looking for the lid for my water. I just took it off. I'm also dripping stuff over the phone. Oh well. Okay. I'll try to not use that actually right now. Alrighty. So I kind of want to wait until those people, at least some people tuning in. Now, I guess it's true when you're doing the live stream scrolling thing, you're not necessarily seeing titles. This is true. And I've been doing a bit more of that lately. And just to kind of say this first, uh, the other day there was the other day I noticed that I'm doing something that perhaps a lot of people are doing um, when they're coming across my videos on this channel, where you get into a groove, but like if you're anything like me, you're also browsing to see what you might want to talk about, or what you might want to watch, and who what the community is, or at least. And I can only say this because it's something I recently went through, although I'm also been, it's also been good otherwise, but to focus mostly on the person that's doing the videos. But um, what I did is that there were a couple of them. It's like, yeah, this seems interesting. I'm going to subscribe. I'll check this out later for whatever reason, whether it was just the noise, the certain sounds or whatever within it, and where I was at the time, or whatever it is. So there is that. But then, yeah, you get into a groove. Even I don't know. Anywho, point of the matter is, so you might not see the title, I guess, if you're doing it that way. But if you do, I'm assuming that you're clicking in because you, not that anybody has yet, but it's not been that long, but because there's interest in the topic. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna mention that one part unless somebody else does. But so basically, sorry, I'm just kind of. This is a laptop, and so I'm just trying to keep it steady and settle in pretty much. I'm going to move this over here. I want to get rid of this since I can't find the lid now. And it's just safer there anyway. So G uh, was up a little bit this morning, doing a bit better, ripping a bit though, and could have maybe done the fitness thing, but decided to kind of, wasn't up to it right now. I just need to very quickly cover the screen. Thought I had something in my tooth or whatever. So, hopefully somebody will tune in soon. But basically, yeah, let's hop into the topic, why don't we? So, I saw a post on a site that I don't really use very much, but I guess G and the GNC is involved, or follows it a bit, and showed me a post. And I've been browsing it a little bit. And the person had said, okay, so I get it. That they said that they get it. They're not employable. And somebody, she just simply said that, and she's a realtor. She said something about. Actually, that's. I'm just now noticing. I mean, some of it. I'm just now noticing the fields that it says that they're in. I was noticing things underneath, but some of them were less obvious, I guess, underneath their name. But oh my gosh, I was captured by your first line. I'm like, oh, but then she said, clearly you're not around the right people. And that is important. It is. Thanks for the like. I appreciate it. I think there was another comment here that I was wanting to look at, though. Although I know it was definitely that one. I don't know what else there might be to say about, when you're looking for work, being around the right people, other than that it's important. Okay, there was somebody there. Like the connection was a bit wonky for a moment there, and so they may have either that or they're just thankful that somebody's posting, top quality employment counseling, because it can be hard to find. And we could talk a little bit about why you feel like, first of all, where you're watching from. That might have some relevance, might not, but, and also why you feel like it's hard to possibly get employment counseling. Um, One thing I would say is that I think a lot of people that are employed as employment counselors, because they are working, they don't quite get it, even though they usually and hopefully most always are wishing to be helpful. Um, but yeah, you kind of just networking is a very important thing. Um, Whoever posted this, I didn't look at their page at all because I'm not really hiring, and I just decided to start looking at the comments. And a couple people have mentioned that this person is an artist. Um, One's even asking for if they have a website aside from on this platform, and asks if they've been selling their art. Now, isn't well, I'm not much. I'm not as much of an artist. That's more G. I am, but really, we're both more musical. I can understand that it can be hard to kind of sell your creations because they are special to you. You know, Having a picture of them is helpful, I guess. Um, and if you need to be surviving and you're struggling otherwise, it's an idea that we should be considering, right? Um, you know, sure, you could try and recreate a product and just kind of, you know, you can try and just create multiples. But if you've really got the artist's eye, you'll notice the slight differences. So I'm just gonna, sorry about that. But if that's your niche, if that's your talent, sorry, just my arms are chilly. Then why not do it, right? So, and I've for a long time felt, there's the teenagers that want their first job. Hopefully, they're not spending it all on clothes and alcohol. Sure, in our society, we kind of need clothes. We don't really need alcohol that much, though. I mean, maybe a little bit, but certainly partying to the wee hours, every evening or almost every evening is, especially including with alcohol. That's again with where especially the point is not really something that I think any of us really needs. You know, um, and then there are people that are retired and bored and wanting to get back into the work market, and then there are people that are kind of you know in their late 20s, early 30s, and there was a couple people here that said that as soon as it's realized that they're in their 50s or 60s, they're not even considered. I'm like, and part of me is thinking, I mean, why is an possible employer asking, how old you are? I mean, I guess if you've once you've gotten to the interview, they see if you have gray hair or not. But I don't. Part of me wants to say some of those people are probably the best workers, but then it depends on the job and it depends on the person, and I'm not meaning um, to say anything against the younger crowd. Um, it depends on the person again, and it depends on the job. I think that there's definitely a lot of younger people, let's say between the ages of 16 or 18 and early 20s, maybe even older than that a little bit, who are probably not in the best fit job situation, and so um, they're not engaged. They're not engaged in it, and that's important. Um, I know that some people, especially older generation people, might say, "Well, they still should just do the job," and you know, you know. I actually watched someone that I've been seeing videos of a few times lately. Um, but just remembering that this should be plugged in. Um, what bothered me, I wouldn't want to do that job because he had to use a tape roller thing, and it was like, whenever you do that, or you do it with a tape roller. But anyway, um, and he had music on earbuds, and he was singing along, and he was also podcasting. He was kind of working in his own little corner. Although I think he did say that that was the first time he tried it. I mean, if that's what helps you pass the time, I mean, he was certainly, in fact, as somebody who really appreciates um, community and socializing and this and that, um, I mean, in some of his other videos, and even a little bit in that one, he was getting quite a few things in the chat, but he wasn't really super focused on the chat. Actually, it was kind of like it was there just in case he wanted to chat with somebody, and also to share his singing maybe, and um, say, but yeah, and it seemed to be working for him. I mean, and he was still doing the tasks, so. Um, and then there's another woman that I follow here that owns a cafe on YouTube that owns a cafe in BC. I don't know. I mean, and she seems like she's relatively busy and has quite a few regulars, although she treats everybody quite well. Might be a bit much for some people, but definitely pretty nice personality. I can't really creep it else, but and it seems like, well, there could be a counter there. She doesn't film any of her customers, but she does. You do hear them. Um, I don't know. I think she works by herself, so she likes to have it when it's slower, um, and I mean, it certainly shows how to do good customer service. Um, and I'm not really sure what else to say about that, but anyway, but yeah, it's yeah. And I think she might be a little bit older than the other guy. Maybe not. I'm gonna say she's in her early 40s. Although there's also part of me that feels like she's younger than me, and I've just got into my 40s. But hmm, sorry. Yeah, I'll give them this, but yeah, well, even though I'm not really well, so I might decide no, I'd rather have it a bit quieter. Um, I also think that there's definitely something to be said for, or know that there's something to be said for when a job says that you need certain experience. Um, I mean, it depends. It depends. Sure, if you're, and I hope to be able to ask JT soon. You know, had they ever had a surgery before? What was the experience like? Did they find themselves to be kind of awake during it? Did they get a transplant? Uh, but I mean, so like a surgeon, yes, we'd want them to know what they're doing. It's interesting how so many doctors actually don't seem to have much of a psychology background. And I know some people will say, well, they're not psychologists, but I mean, some things just make sense. Like I heard somebody recently told the other day that, oh, these meds could make you restless and pace around a lot. Well, they also have a mental health component to the med, and some meds don't work. Or sometimes it's not a med that somebody needs. Um, and I don't want to say that everybody with a mental health condition paces around a lot, but I mean, it definitely could be other reasons. Or say a side effect is drowsy. I mean, I guess if you need to have your energy throughout the day, that's not a great thing. But otherwise, I mean, a lot of them have that. But anywho, there was something I was saying before that, but I can't remember what. Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe you'll be able to help remind me. You were saying something about this. Can you continue that thought, and maybe it'll come back to me. One thing I kind of want to say, this might be a good spot to say it. Nobody's here right now, but a few minutes in, um, I think definitely media jobs. I'm going to say one that some people might not consider that much, and try not to be hard on yourself. I mean, for the most part, I would say there's a lot of beautiful people out there, and I don't know much about. I wish I did know much about like the modeling industry, but I would recommend to a lot of people that they get into it because I think that they. I mean, I know that's the external, and the physical side of things. Um, but also to look into your internal, what your interests in stuff are, and try and work with them. um oh, right, something about how they should train on the job, because I mean you have to get experience somehow. Maybe you just need to find like a proctor, or an interning position, um somehow. Also, if you have any interest in doing like movie extra work, um this is interesting. Let those who don't pick you deal with the loss of your presence and your ability. It's not yours, it's theirs. Keep applying in that one place. Who will see your value, will open the door. Try to both make that really a lot, but yeah, be strong. I don't know how many more comments there are on here, but I want to address at least a couple more before I wrap up. We'll see how G's doing. This is a silly suggestion that I don't recommend, um, for a couple of reasons. aside from burnout and things. There's probably others, but someone says not going to do it from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I mean, people don't like to be solicited to. I mean, some may hear you out a little bit, but business cards don't always work. Although they might look at it and say, okay, that person's got lots of skills. I'm sure that they're doing fine in some of them. We shouldn't assume. This might be an interesting point. I don't know. I've not really heard of this before. And I kind of don't agree with a couple other things he's saying, but follow up can be an important thing. Thank you letters for someone's interest and what's the word? Um, Curiosity in you. Um, that's not the word I'm looking for, but it'll have to do because I don't know what that word is. um, Chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. Um, for taking the time to consider you. Consideration. I think that's and sure, maybe they're not actually doing so, but people like to feel, um, that they're what they're doing in their time and that is appreciated, and they like to get the thank yous. I think that's what it really is. I guess I didn't fully read that. I did it just before I went out with dog, so didn't see anything about his father passed away. If you have autism spectrum disorder, though, um, I don't know what state it's in, but there's something called Eden. Oh, okay, it sounds like New Jersey, maybe. Oh, no, that's another one she's mentioning. Sense of self and purpose for life, and being a part of a working team. Just gonna say, do a couple more comments here because I'm getting in the groove, even though nobody's here. Interest. We should be appreciating somebody's interest more than some of us do, even if they don't have the experience. Help them get it, because if the interest is there, that's halfway to success. And I think a lot of us should also remember that some people are on unemployment benefits, and it's hard in some places, to get on them, to survive on them sometimes. But we should realize that even though one can become comfortable and it's good to be thankful that um, a lot of them don't want that. Like they'd rather be working for their money. They'd rather be doing something that they love. Um, Thanks for the second like. I was thinking of wrapping up soon just because I want to check on G and do some other things and that. But I'm just looking at some comments on this site about this topic, and I'm glad to have you here. Um, and yeah, I'm curious if you've ever been to the channel before, how you came across it. And sorry, I'm just going to read for a moment here, and then I mean, if you have anything you'd like to say on the topic, you're welcome to join the chat. I believe it's working. I haven't been rolling very long though, so there's not a lot of activity yet. But let me just see here. This looks like it could potentially be a good comment. Um, Somebody 12 years in 12 years experience working, 8 years of that in management, but yet was having to apply for an entry level junior office assistant and not succeeding. Volunteer opportunities is good if you can get it, for experience and purpose and community and something to do if you can get it, for sure. Hope and encourage networking to create opportunities. Yeah. This person thinks that a lot of job offers today are just for show, that aren't intending to hire anyone. Interesting thought. Not sure if it's true. And that it's to boost performance of the current workers, um, scaring them with firing them and replacing them. I mean, it makes a little sense, to be honest. I know that G says that at his work, and he's been there for a while, and he's quite well liked and respected. That there's a guy that's there that has worked another job. He sounds like Trump. He's fired like 30 something people, but he always says how great a worker G is and everything. I said, you better hope he doesn't fall back into his ways and like report you for anything. But he's missed. I mean, one day was a holiday day, but he's missed a whole week with sickness, and then the sister passed away, so was off for I think 2 or 3 days. I don't remember exactly. And how you doing? Just a moment. I'm still a little bit hungry, but I'm gonna wait. That's my lid. How you doing? Hello? Huh? You in the bath? Okay. At least I heard you say something. That's the main thing. I'm gonna close this door. You know the dog. Um, I'm kind of getting into the groove of this though, so I think I'm gonna go a bit longer. I don't know how many more comments there are to look at, but as far as the eye can see, I also want to kind of sort of just quickly check on my other device or something to see if there's any comments that I'm not seeing on this one for some reason. Because there was somebody who was there for a while and looked like they. Oh, right. Um, Look like they may have possibly been wanting to say something. Thought I had this open. I guess that was the other device. Ooh, okay. I'm just gonna. These cushions are terrible for sliding, and we think that putting other cushions on top of them would stop it, but it don't. You're like, are you shaking your money maker? No filter. That's the other thing. I'm saying it very quickly after that, and now that if anybody that heard me say it knows that I try and impress them, but I also try and enjoy life and make the streams fun and enjoyable, and they're not necessarily gonna be that for everybody, but hopefully for most, and otherwise just kind of shrug it off or decide not to watch. Simple as that. I'm really trying to put good content out there, but every now and then I make a lame joke or a joke that isn't necessarily everybody's fancy, for lack of a different way to put it. That's weird. There was already two. Okay. Well, that's very bizarre. There was 2 likes into this old account. There was 2 likes, but I mean, it was just for a moment I came. It only showed one, and then when I hit it, it turned to 4, and it says 3 there. Anyway, it's doing well. It's doing well, thankfully, even if not accurate. I mean, I'm not going to say that, before I went and looked on this device, there was really hasn't been searched here. Okay, there was already 2. So, ooh, that's not right now. That's more of a wild party than currently. Then I do that, and it went down to 3, and now it says 5, and it says 4 there. So that's kind of bizarre. And no messages, but it does say there's somebody watching. So let's get back. What I'm doing, and I can certainly look at your comments. Very happy to. As long as they're on topic and kind. I mean, sometimes the topic's a bit looser than other times, but this one has a topic. As you can, if you were just scrolling the live streams, and you might, maybe if you click your screen, it might show it at the top. Like if you just press your screen, but it might not. Oh, hello. Good morning, Johnny. How are you? Yes, actually, I've had some coffee. I decided to wait till brunch to have maybe a bit more. I also had a pretty sweet muffin, well, half of it, but it was kind of something interesting that kind of transpired uh, about that. Um, really glad to have you here, and I believe I'm remembering you from Maxie's videos, and I'll just let you know now that there's a couple things that made me kind of step away, or at least for now, from that channel and that community. So, but I'm glad that I knew there was somebody else other than, kind of he himself and one other person. I knew there was somebody else that was still cool. I'm not going to say much more than that, but yeah, you'd qualify. So, how's your day going? What time of day is it there? Here it's about 20 after 1. Or 20 after 10, sorry. I'm seeing the 1 and the 10 and getting confused. Oh, cool, cool. It's like the other day. I'm just going to turn on the light because it's sunny out, but it's kind of dark in here. It's like the other day, and chilly too for some reason. The other day, somebody said, "Oh, so it's the same." Well, actually, it's 10:20 in a minute here. Yeah, it's a bit chilly, but to be expected for this time of year, and certainly here it could be like it could be snow and it could be worse. The sun's out. Actually, it is a bit windier looking out than when I went out with the dog earlier, but I'm hoping it warms up. I forget whereabouts in the world you're at, actually. Um, and I think for you, you probably got notified of the live stream. You weren't just scrolling. So you saw what the title is. And I'm also kind of curious to know how you relate to it, if you relate to it. Or if you just thought, oh, I know this person, I'm going to click in and chat, which is also fine, Been a bit quiet, so see you've changed your picture. You look a little diagonal. Is that the word? A little bit like a diamond. But are you a diamond in the rough? Just kidding. A lot of us are. Anyway, I'll slow down and let catch up. But yeah, what was I going to say? I don't know. If you have a song request, I'd be happy to do it, by the way. And if you haven't yet, I hope you will like the video. And yeah, very happy to have you here. Like I say, nobody else is really here chatting at the moment, so gotten a few likes, but which is nice. It's nice, but chatting is better. I'm just going to look at these comments on this site connected to the topic. Again, we can veer from the topic a little bit. I've said some things already, but on it. But I'm just going to look at this for a moment. And to the person that just tuned in, welcome. Glad to have you here. I'm just giving our commenter Johnny a chance to catch up with anything I've said that he might want. And I don't know if somebody left, so I don't know if it's still Johnny or not. And I'm looking at some comments to bring into this conversation, and that can include yours. And this is not meant at all to sound, bro, just continue, keep it up. Oh, thank you, Armin. Um, First time to the channel? How'd you come across it? Glad to have you here. Um, I don't know if you were here earlier as well at all. Uh, and you're saying just continue, keep it up. I mean, I do try and post almost every day. I slowed down a little bit, but I think I was still posting every day. Going through a lot right now. I lost my home on Monday, so I'm trying to figure. Oh, so sorry to hear that. Where are you staying with a loved one? Like, what is your living situation right now? Then I'm hoping it's not terrible, even though that's not great. So you really relate to this topic, then? Well, you might be employed, but like, what happened? And yeah, I'm just gonna multitask here and look at this. Um, I'm not being distracted. I'm looking at comments based on this topic. Why is it so damn chilly in here? Of course, if you're completely homeless and outside, even though you're saying it's beautiful, it's gets cold at night and it's the seasons are changing. But some people, they're like, oh, like some people don't think it gets cold when it's raining, and some people they don't know winters. They think, well, it's winter time. I guess this is what winter is like everywhere. Nope. And Armin, do we still have you here? My utility bill skyrocketed to over 700. Yeah, our water bill went up quite high, and it's going to be even worse now. The GNC has been kind of sick and finding a lot of comfort taking baths. Almost, I mean, through the night as well, but almost didn't this morning. But then said I'd rather do that than the fitness thing. So, um, um, and I have a daily routine in that too. But I mean, like he's doing it for hours because of his nausea and his pains and stuff and that. So, but we got medication, we got food, and the right kind of drinks that should hopefully help. I'm still confused about this. My mother gave it to me to give to him, and it's kombucha, and it's supposed to be blueberry, but does this look blue to you? I mean, I'm so confused. Um, I would actually look and see if maybe there was some sort of error. I know that for hydro here, they say that they estimate 1 month and then they give you the actual amount the next month. It's like, why are you estimating? Tell me what it is, and that's it. And it should be pretty consistent. It was pretty good when I lived in my apartment. And if you haven't liked yet, remember to do so. I appreciate it. The number is pretty good. Let's make it better. Not trying to sound greedy or whatever, but yeah, and it's not all about that. But yeah, I would double check to see if they maybe made some sort of error. So to pay out of my rent money, it's a mess. High bills, no rent money, no food. Felt it was best to leave there before I was forced out. Oh, so you weren't forced out yet? Yeah. You didn't. You don't. So were you living in an apartment? I thought it said 3 for a moment, but were you living in an apartment? And what is the management wasn't very good by the sounds of it. I hope that you've at least got. I don't remember exactly where you live in the world, but hopefully you, if nothing else, got the the body of a car to shield yourself and be in. and not this on the streets. But and hopefully you manage to find a loved one or another place. And I hope that that doesn't affect your credit rating as well. I mean, you know, I think if anybody questions you on that, if you otherwise are pretty good at managing your bills and stuff, whoever you need to remind of that, do so. Like say, look at my past though. I'm pretty good. Oh right. I don't know if I ever asked you about Kyle Pinsno, but that's actually a very interesting. And I have a follower. She'd been sick with lupus for a while, but she popped in briefly the other day after ages. Um, that's interesting because I will make a suggestion to you. So I can't remember if melancholy is a good feeling or not, but so I guess you're feeling kind of melancholy. I don't mean to joke around. Are you still there? It doesn't look like it, but sometimes that could be an inaccurate. I have more suggestions if you are though. It's like I am, and I'm all for suggestions right now. Okay, well I'll give you all four. I've given you a couple. Are you there? It says one again. So I'm chilly. Um, and if you are still here, I don't know if you were here about 25, 30 minutes ago. Um, but whoever's here, I'll say it again. And want to sound, I don't want this to be misconstrued. I don't want it to sound like I'm just going to put this on. I don't care what people think. My arms are chilly and I don't really want to put on a sweater right now because I'll get warm quickly and I don't have one handy. So basically, I know that this is talking about the external and the physical, and what's inside is also important, of course. But I would recommend to a lot of people that modeling could be something that they'd be successful in. And another reason that this comes up is because mentioning of Kentucky, I went to grade school with somebody uh, in Ontario, Canada, who I think they live in California now, but they lived in Kentucky for a while. And oh, cool. Yeah, pretty manly, but not entirely. So you are still here. Anyway, they lived in Kentucky for a while, and they were doing acting and modeling, and they were an athletic swimmer, and I don't know what else they were doing all kinds of stuff. He was actually in a coma very young too. Came out of it and adopted a kid. He's had quite a life story. Um, so yeah, I mean, if that's something, do you post content by the way, out of curiosity? I can't remember. I'd check out your channel if you do. And if you don't, maybe you should start. I mean, YouTube videos, I can't guarantee, sometimes you have to accumulate quite a bit before you can, well, I don't remember exactly how much, but before you can collect. And, most payment platforms take a cut. E-transfers are the easiest, but then you have to put your email there. Which, by the way, I think you're the only one watching right now. I'm not super familiar with you, but if you'd like to talk more on one outside of on here, I've mostly good experiences and nothing like super terrible. I mean, if we have a disagreement, we talk about it, come back to an understanding, or we just ignore each other. But I'm sure we'd be fine. COLTYNROCKS, because I'm musical and I rock. I'm just kidding. At gmail.com. And you're welcome. We can chat one on one there anytime you want as well. I mostly check regularly. But anywho, basically, and I had a dream last night. Speaking of, there's somebody that's been very much on my mind, a loved one that passed away, and this and that. We were in a minor auto accident the other day, and there was a couple ways where I felt her presence around as well. And I swear that I saw a picture of her in a hospital bed last night. I know that my one friend who passed away and his mother recently did at 104. Um, I met up with his brother once, and he showed me a picture of Clark. I kind of, it's hard to forget that when you see it. I kind of wished he hadn't, but at the same time, I understand he's like, look at, you know, how he looked in his last moments. Anywho, but Ray didn't look too bad. Uh, she never did. But anywho, what was I saying? So hopefully you got that email address. But there was something else. Oh right. So yeah, I would say uh, post on YouTube, uh, and if you don't already, um, even if it's not monetized, and you can do something. Jump there. I thought you can still be looking for work. Oh, you do. What kind of content? You can still be looking for work while doing that, and try and balance as well. And yeah, some people even donate to you because you have if they think you're musical. That's right. I should remember that. You have so most of them are shorts. Is that what it is? No. When I go to home, I'm seeing different things than I'm seeing under shorts and videos, and I'm only seeing one under videos. Looks like you have a lot of dogs. But I think those are you with the nice rock star long hair. um, just making sure that you remember to like mostly shorts. It's okay. Time for some pants, some dresses, right? Yeah, I look forward to hearing full covers of you. People love music. I mean, people love free, but don't be shy. Don't be ashamed or embarrassed to share. What you're going through right now. Again, I don't know if you're staying with a loved one in a car, on the street, whatever. Um, you know, I hope that you'll find people that have empathy and might even be willing to help support a little bit. Um, I may come across as if I don't know. I don't know if I do. I don't think you've seen a lot of my videos, but let's just say this. I am getting disability checks myself for the most part for some health things that I got going on in that. G's working, although hasn't had a lot of hours lately because of the stuff I mentioned earlier. Um, and I'm getting side opportunities, but very minimally, very minimally. So unfortunately, I can't send any money. I know you're not asking, but I mean, part of me feels I would if I could, but I can't. But I can support in other ways, as you can see. Um, so, so, oh, that's good. That's good. So, do you and your girlfriend work? Like, you lost your home, but you work? I guess that does classify as homeless, but not jobless. Right. So, are you looking for work? That's the question I'm asking. Because, I mean, it's okay that we kind of went, well, we didn't kind of go off of that topic, but that was actually the topic of this video. And if one or both of you and your girlfriend do work, then okay, cool, cool. Here we have one that gets robbed quite frequently, windows broken quite frequently. But and if you're not of a certain demographic, I don't mean to come across a certain way, but they usually won't hire. Speaking of people that are more close to retirement age, though, one of the ones here, there is an older white lady that works there. I don't know if she's the manager, um, but so and what about your girlfriend? Out of curiosity, and you just started that job, okay? What kind of work experience do you have? Like, because I don't know, I could be wrong, and I'm sure you're happy just to have a job. Maybe this is just if it was me. Maybe it's not. I know some people would say, well, that's not a lot better than a fast food job, and like you probably have higher ambitions, whether it's similar to something you've done before or something you haven't done yet. And what would those be? 20 years of retail experience. That's quite a lot. Okay. So you like the industry then? I mean, it's customer service, it's maybe some probably sales to an extent. You've worked since you were 16. Okay, wow. Well, actually, a lot of people do. I think that's the starting age, that you can get jobs unless you're like in a family business or, just doing like cutting somebody's grass or whatever. But, come to think of it, I was about that age, I think. I'm certainly not now. But I think I was still in high school. I don't know. I'm thinking probably my first year of high school, we just let myself adjust to being in high school. So I'm thinking it was my latter 3 years. And it's actually very ironic. I don't want to be super specific, but I could be in any neighborhood in the city and just happen to be in this group because I used to live in it or whatever. Lots of people do that. Um, there was a store with a kind of unique name in a town in Ontario. And here where I live, we have a street with the name of that town next to a street. I think it's pretty close with the name of that store. And it's a residential in the city, not near a farm area, but there has been a turkey that has been around. People of another area call him Thomas. Watch Thomas turn in now, not the turkey, the musician. And then there's people that are calling him Steve, which G probably would find really ironic. Months ago, I remember seeing somebody post about seeing him, and then I didn't for ages, but some people were. And then, yeah, he's back. And this is about probably 20, 30 minutes away from where we live. But anyway, now that I have you wanting a turkey sandwich, you're like, no, because I don't eat turkey. And I'm like, okay, neither do I. Or you're like, yeah, because I do eat turkey. And I'm like, okay, enjoy. Keep this playing in the background. But yeah, no, so yeah, grocery store for me. And call centers, unfortunately. Wasn't all bad, wasn't all great. Customer service is almost every industry. Retail, are you wanting to stay in retail, man? Or I mean, I know that you're musical. Like, I'm sorry, I get curious. It's getting to know each other. I have lots of questions sometimes. Like, are you doing gigs as a musician? Are you busking? Are you in a band? Well, now it's time for some highs, right? Yeah, you're busking. Are you in a band? Are you hoping to make it big in music? Are you making it big in music? You're like, oh, I wasn't how to work at Dollar General. Sorry. Sorry, I don't mean to be putting words in your mouth. I'm just going to put words in your mouth. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Just going to holler up to G. How you doing? Good. I'm having an enjoyable podcast, so take your time. And I'm thanking Johnny Melancholy for that. You're actually quite chatty today, and somebody just tuned in, so that's also cool. I think this is the most we've maybe chatted. I'm enjoying it. You know, one thing I will say too is if you find, even though you have experience in that industry, if you find that you just can't stay at that job any longer. Um, it sounds like I don't know how closely connected and supportive your family is, but at least you got your girlfriend's sister. If your girlfriend's working, I want to say, hopefully it's not easier said than done, but I want to say if you don't stick with that job, I mean, it's always good to have a plan B, but it's also good to consider your wellness. It's also good to consider, you know, how you're managing in the job. It's not necessarily a job with a lot of opportunities for advancement either, probably. But if your girlfriend ends up working at some point and you're not, don't think about gender. Don't think about, I'm the man, I'm supposed to be bringing in the income. Times are hard for a lot of us. And it's kind of one of those things that ebbs and flows. And in relationships, we learn that, sometimes it's not going to be balanced in that way, but we can do our best in other ways to, while looking for work or, opportunities, which again, not always easy to find. And a lot of us understand that, but we can do our best in other ways to, you may feel domestic, you may not, but, any, man, however masculine they are, if they live by themselves, then, unless they're eating out every day, which they I don't think is even possible every meal every day, financially or any other reason. They're cooking. Cooking is a thing that I know that you weren't genderizing, but just some people that say, well, cooking's for women to do. Why? We all eat. Might as well make stuff we like. Cleaning is, I mean, I do the basics. It's otherwise not my forte, but you can do stuff around the house. I don't know if it would be something you'd be interested in, but something like modeling idea. It was like doing dog walking, doing grass cutting, doing snow shoveling if you're able. Um, Probably don't get as much snow as we do anyway, though. But uh, and yeah, it's just me right now. But I would like to start up a band in the area, and I would like to be in the area because I'm not looking forward to winter coming here, and I'd like to be in a band as well. One thing we could do, and I know I gave my email address. Don't repeat it here at the moment. Somebody else here, but I'm happy to have you here, both of you. Don't be shy. And feel free to like and subscribe, of course. Um, we could try and jam a bit online. Maybe this is something that was meant to go for the men's community that still did. I mean, there's still a couple things that are, but it was very sad and disappointing, kind of how things went down there. And I haven't talked about it a lot, nor do I plan to. But in a couple of recent videos, because it was recent, I mentioned, you know, even though his community and his channel is great, I mine's different in some ways because I make sure even if we don't have as many moderators, and I'm kind of looking to one of them is actually from his thing. There was two that were, and then there's another one. But if you'd be happy, I know it doesn't pay, but it's something of purpose and helpful. If you'd like to help moderate the channel, I could make you one. Um, and yeah, I don't know why that shows twice. Whoops. And basically, yeah, I'd love to jam online. That's the closest we can get. Sometimes it really is a matter of where we live. You know, just there's lack of opportunity. Like I'm originally from a small town. And part of me thinks, okay, it'd be easier to get opportunities because it's easier to get around. I don't remember doing a lot on foot, but I must have because there was no busing system in that area at the time. I did have a parent with a car though. At one point, I had two. I mean, but I was a kid then. Um, but in a bigger city, there's more people trying for jobs. It's a bigger radius to have to, if you don't drive or whatever. I moved here to be okay, okay. Hmm. Um, yeah, I've been in distance relationships, and the similarities between you and this Kyle guy that I know. He has a brother named Brent. I don't know if this person's familiar to you or not. He's in the LGBT community. I don't know if I should have said that, but I think he's pretty out about it because he's got a partner and he's in the industries he's in. Um, you grew up on a Navy base. Okay, cool. Um, I have certain feelings about services, but we don't have to get into that. But yeah, so that's cool. Um, so what kind of work? Well, you'd like to be in a band. You mentioned that. What other kind of work would you like to do? But yeah, sometimes it's a matter of, and I don't know, like, I don't want to talk too much about him on his back, but I'm not saying anything bad either. Kyle, he, he lived, like, say, in Ontario, a couple places, and then moved to the States. I'm not really sure why he moved to the States. I didn't go to high school with him. I went to grade school. So I'm not even sure if he moved there for high school. Come to think of it, then. I mean, again, small town, but he didn't go to that school. And it wasn't somebody I was super close with. Um, when I was in grade school, and a little bit in high school too. I was in special ed type classes, not to be confused with um, not to be confused with like things with Down syndrome. And although I am autism spectrum, I've always known I had ADHD. I didn't really know about the autism spectrum thing until I was older. But and I mean, so many kids, yeah, for sure. So I said to someone just the other day, it's hard to tell with kids because they're hyper anyway. And I mean, with the digital age and just in general, I mean, but then when we find people that we like and things that we like, even when we have ADHD, we can hyper focus, and that is. I'll never forget. Somebody once told me that they had a client who said that they worked in medical something, and they would hear when somebody was being paged, and then somebody would say, "Have you seen so and so?" "Oh yeah, they were asked to go there about 15 minutes ago or whatever." But I'm thinking, are people really that much out of it and in their own mind or whatever that they wouldn't notice that if they don't have ADHD? I mean, anyway. But yeah, yeah. Is there a song you'd like to hear? By the way, I'm very tempted to bring you on screen now to jam, but I probably should wrap up shortly. I don't have anything I'm hugely rushing to. Just making, staying home with G, who's sick, and making sure he's okay, and getting through the day. But the only thing is, I'm doing this on the computer, so I'm not really sure how I would do that. But if you requested to join on camera, I'd be able to do it. Rather than reframing the whole thing, remembering the positives. I'm just going to look at a couple more comments here, and then I'll check back here. Um, yeah, yeah. I'll try and remember next time to use the phone. It might be. I don't think we. Well, we don't. We're exactly the same time actually. It's the same with Texas actually. Um, Let me just check and make sure Dallas is in the country. If anybody sees comments by Dallas ever, let me know, please, because I might not. I don't think I'm going to because I think I've locked it back. But I might go out later today, in a few hours maybe, or later in the evening. Definitely tomorrow. Don't know with what. Don't know exactly when. Unlike you know who, I don't necessarily have a set time, but it's usually around the 9:30, 10ish, and then sometimes for a while, and then the 8, 7 or 8 ish. Um, but yes, if this employment topic, I think it's something that really relates to you, Johnny, and possibly the other person. It would be very ironic if your name was Mary. And you're like, why? Because Christmas is coming? Not only that. um, but let me just see here for a moment. One other thing that I do want to state, I know this is well into the video, and I feel like Johnny might agree with this, and the other person might as well. You seem to be liking what I'm saying. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Might be glitching at the moment, not sure, or maybe you just get to playing and walked off, or fell asleep, or who knows. Anyway, point of the matter being is that even though I'm sitting here saying that some jobs aren't great and some people, I'm almost feeling deja vu for a moment here, you know, on this topic with Johnny being here, but some people, basically, I think more people need to be thankful that they have jobs. Um, like when people are, I know that the cost of living is high and this and that and this and that, but what I'm really meaning is like when people say, oh, we want a rate increase, or we want more than minimum wage, um, or we're gonna go picketing or whatever. It's kind of like, be happy you got employment and that you're not out of a job. Uh, that you have a purpose. It's something to work to do. That serves a great purpose, and they may even realize. And yeah, that you're not out of a job, that you're not homeless. You know. it's okay to wish for more, but sometimes I think that stuff gets a little out of hand. And one thing like local, in parts of Canada that's been kind of annoying, although it hasn't lasted very long this time, is postal. Now I know a lot of people are digital mail these days, but and I must call that number and not on the well maybe on the weekend, I don't know, and get them to direct deposit perhaps, but um, um, the certain people are waiting for important things, and then as the holidays get closer, even more so. Okay, well that is kind of I might if you do end up emailing me, by the way. Again, don't be here right now. There's somebody else here. But if you do end up emailing me, um, I won't get back to you for a couple of days. I'm waiting to send something to somebody, or at least I think at this point I feel like I am, who isn't back at her work emails until Monday, unless she's still sick on Monday, but hopefully not. But by Wednesday, definitely. I mean, uh, yeah, so got that there. Let me just look at a couple more of these. And no, you're right as well. Human rights, don't agree with them or whatever. But like, if you're being discriminated against in the workplace, I mean, I know sometimes filing a lawsuit on that kind of thing can be a very lengthy process, but you know, stand up for yourself, stand up for others that you notice it happening to. And if there's more than one example too, then it might kind of get taken more seriously. It was quite a bit during the pandemic, kind of around that area. Still on top? Hey? Still on top? Are you still in? Okay. All good. Shouting someone upstairs if that wasn't obvious. I'm getting hungry. I want to have lunch soon. Just so you know. And it's going to be fancy. Apprenticeships can also be good. I love that idea about that show that Trump had. I just don't like Trump. You know. This is a really great comment. I just want to finish processing it, reading it. I like this comment, so I'm going to read it. From Mr. Kata. I think it's a dude. Yeah. Totally agree. Or at least I'm going to say so. Totally agree. Companies often underestimate how much impact fast learners and creative thinkers bring. Um, when they can generate ideas that move projects forward, the results speak for themselves. I've seen firsthand in my own work, creativity plus speed always translate into growth and profit. Teams that recognize that are the ones that stay ahead. Um, just reading these, sorry, I'm going a bit slow for a moment here. I need to slow down anyway for a bit. Short while, very short while. And it's on topic. I think that was obvious, but just in case. Johnny, are you still there out of curiosity? Not super much into your day. Okay, cool. But I'm glad that, I don't have to apologize. I'm glad you're still here. Apologizing that you were quiet for a moment there. Yeah, speak up. We'll forever hold your piece of cake. Sorry. Your piece of cake. Like, well, it is my birthday. I'm seeing a lot of people with birthdays around me this year, more than I remember in a long time. But yeah, so let me know when might be. I mean, we're the same time zone. That makes it easy. Let me know when might be a good time. I don't know if, well, like I said, the thing. Although it opened it in two spots, so I might be able to try it. Try just last time I used it, which was quite a while ago. We were having volume issues, but we could try that way since it's the first time. Um, okay, so it's coming up very close to Christmas, like really close, or like really, really close, or like really, really, really. Just kidding. Um, but if you don't mind winging it, what kind of just don't say metal. That's all I gotta ask. I mean, if you say why not, I just you can probably guess. I'd rather not get into it. And not you look like a rock kind of guy. Okay, so really, really, that is then. Okay, Shrek it is. Anyway, you look like a rock kind of guy. I don't know if you do pop and country, but those are my top styles. Do you have any favorite musical artists in those areas? If we know that we know some of the same stuff, then we shall be pretty good. G will want to join. We'll have to see if he feels up to it. He could be jamming with a flutist and a harpist and a drummer and a pianist and a mandolinist. Like, whoa! I've never half of those I've never jammed with. Um, Alternative rock, hard rock, indie, post grunge sounds good to me. I'm not really sure what post grunge. I mean, it means before grunge. Is that right? What that would be? But I would say more so. I'd know the other stuff. So, any particular favorite groups in the everything but that category will be uh, will be in the same line. And then you might just have to move to Canada so we can start a band. One of the things, I don't drive and I'm not much into bars. So that's been part of the reason why I've not been in a band. And I've also just nothing's fallen together. Uh, but what I'm more into is like cafes, restaurants, patios, in patio season. Like it's still, I mean, I bet you, I'll call them D&B. I bet you they're still open for their patio because they were like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it's still fairly mild. I don't know. And they're also very small inside. So they're not huge anyway, but they're very popular. But they have a very interesting ice cream, soft serve vanilla with bacon. It's called the Triple B, so I'm gonna guess it's butterscotch. Although I thought it was peanut butter. Like can't tell the difference. Not with the other stuff. No, I don't know. And I thought I remembered it saying it was peanut butter, but anyway, it's pretty good. But then they have that. Good. But oh really? Boo! Just kidding. Of course, with Halloween not being that long ago, I noticed that there was a couple pieces of pumpkin uh, in a neighborhood on the ground when I was walking the dog. But what still annoys me, this is a good opportunity to say it, is people that I mean, I don't want to be super specific because that might be too specific. I mean, if it was just you and we're this far in, but that being said, a lot of people like they buy chicken wings or whatever from somewhere, and as they're eating it, I'm surprised actually that we've not been out walking and came across multiple chicken bones, but they're tossed them on the ground, and I could almost see how some people might think, well, that'll just compost and it's not actually garbage. But when somebody's dog gets it and doesn't want to drop it and could swallow it, and there could be a problem, it's not good. Today I came back actually, and I was not far from the house, and I was going to come back and try and give him something to make him drop it. And in my speediness coming back, he just happened to drop it, and I don't know exactly where. And then he almost got other food that was on the ground. But anyway. But yeah, Smashing Punk, the band name's odd to me, but and I don't know if I know any of the music. Nirvana, maybe. Seether I've heard of. I don't think I know any of their stuff though. Don't know that. Alice in Chains I've heard of. Pearl Jam I've heard of. Um, if we were to pick anything from that list, and I'm sure there's even more that could be listed, I would say Nirvana and Pearl Jam. What's that? You're gonna lay down? Sounds like a plan. Take medication if you need to. They're not supposed to interact with the other one, so which I saw him take that. So yeah, she's not doing as good today. Well, not been doing great the past 3 or 4 days, but anyway. Um, this guy is 44 and he's an artistic ambassador for his hometown. Sorry, female. Or at least the name is Michelle. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. Silver hair, yes, I've got some. Thanks for noticing. Under my hat, but um, I in a new age category now. So, well, I've had some grays for a while now. Um, this is I don't know if you'll relate to this or not, but this is and I think I maybe heard of that, but I'm not sure. Um, this person says they're also Asperger's. What I think would be better language is. How old are you, by the way, out of curiosity? I mean, you can't be a spring chicken if you got silver. Anyway, you're not all, and he's saying also not because he knows. Well, hopefully he does know his other things, but because of the original poster. I guess the Rubik. I guess it could just be bad English. I don't know, but anyway, and I'm not meaning to pick at it too much, but I also have Asperger's. My experience is that a lot of companies are looking for people with autism because sometimes they can do a specific job better than people without it. I like it. Don't like that he doesn't have a profile picture, but anyway. Yeah, so what's the rest of your day look like out of curiosity? Yeah, this warmed me up for sure. Um, I don't know if our heat's come on. Hopefully we're not having the same problem you had. It can be so hard also when you own a house. You think it's yours and you could never lose it. But and if that ever happened to us, we'd be in a tough spot. I mean, we don't have a lot of living local family. I would not really want to live with my mother and my step. And although I do miss the area a little bit, and it's probably changed a lot, and in some ways it's not as safe as it used to be, though. Um, I don't even think they have a spare room anyway. And their basement, unless this has changed, and it might because it's been a few years, is not completely not completely, renovated or whatever, and jam packed with stuff. Although I'm happy to know that Dan moved. But have you ever thought about, speaking of this, have you ever thought about working in a music store of some sort? And actually, if you've had 20 years in retail, you may have done so. And I'm sure that, you've probably thought about your working life a lot, especially lately. So I don't know. I suppose if it was something that was doable, you'd be doing it. So sorry if that's a bad suggestion. I know I'm trying to help though, so there is that. But I mean, I don't really want to. We don't really want to live with G's sister either, to be quite honest. I mean, okay, so I'm just 3 years older as of recently. Okay, I asked that ages ago. I know, but I'm old and slow. um, but yeah, he's her and her husband are. I mean, I don't want to be, yeah, we don't have a lot of living local family. We'd maybe hope that somebody in the neighborhood might help, and hopefully when we went the ones that watch them. I mean, the ones we met over there, kind of all right. I don't know. Um, Certainly not a direct neighbor. I couldn't believe what Joanne said to me today. I got new doors and they're not supposed to open. How did you get the first one open? Well, I figured it was because your doorbell doesn't work sign. That was part of it. And they are doors. I said, oh, I don't know. I think I just said the first one. But anyway, um, we actually do have an empty house at the corner of our street that's been empty for almost 2 months, I think now. There was plans for them to demolish it. That hasn't happened. I would love to have a drop-in center, or if really needed, but like everything's been turned off there, like all the, you know, electric and all that stuff. Um, and it sounds like it needs a lot of work. But it's interesting. There's two other houses. One we've been like just inside the porch chatting with the person, and or some of them don't have their windows covered very well. They don't really have much in their windows, and very white walls, very bright lights, very no art or anything. Maybe they think, yeah, because if people saw it, well, they wouldn't. If you had curtains, they'd steal it. But anyway, um, no, I mean, the one right across from us we're okay with, but we really don't know her that well. And she's gives I hate to say it, but she gives a little bit of an odd vibe, but just a little bit of one. You're like, yeah, don't we all? Fair enough. um, yeah, there really isn't. I would say the ones at the very far corner that way, but I don't think that would go very well. And there's some triggers I've been trying to get past connected to. So I don't know. The one in the yellow house is kind of nice, but we don't really know her very well. You know, most people, unless they kind of know you, wouldn't let you live with them. Now you got me like in the doom and gloom. Oh, it's good to have a lot. Yeah, I guess you probably have to work and do some other stuff. We have had a great conversation. You got a lot going on today, so maybe tomorrow. Okay, cool. Well, have a good one. And I'm so glad we had a great conversation as well. If you haven't liked yet, feel free to also put that on there. I appreciate it. And I know that you have enjoyed it. So just the live chat doesn't always show afterwards. Actually, if you get an opportunity before you go, and not necessarily before you go, but sometime soon, if you could also kind of summarize and give a comment underneath this video once it's posted, which will be soon as well, in case live chat doesn't show, then somebody sees that it at least has come, because sometimes it's more in the live chat than anything else, and they can kind of get an idea as to, because I didn't click the summary option, as to what it was about and how somebody liked it, especially since it's longer too. That might make them more curious. But I mean, it's a topic that a lot of us struggle with, that's for sure. And on that note, I know you're struggling to pull yourself away, it looks like, but I don't want to make you late, or I don't want to mess up your day. So, or anybody's. Be like, oh, you've made my day. I don't want to mess up the rest of it. Oh, you made the rest of it. Just kidding. So don't mind me. So melancholy is really your name, eh? Interesting. He hasn't went to the though. So. But I do want to do some other stuff on the device, and I do want to. Looks like you're still here. Like, yeah, just them finishing up some stuff around here. Hey, I don't mind being in the background as well, as long as it's kosher and not ill intent. And I know it wouldn't be with you, or I know that it wouldn't be just because you're doing other stuff and keeping it playing. But then you might find you hop back into the conversation. What am I saying? I'm only one person here right now, and I'm trying to do them away. Just kidding. Um, That was a long comment, but I'm sure skimmed past it pretty quickly. Nothing's jumping out about it. I do have to run upstairs soon, though, and I don't know. I think we've said quite a bit on this topic, and most of the conversation has fit with it, and it's okay that it didn't entirely. I can't expect it really to, and I'm more freestyle anyway, so I can't expect it in an hour and a half to be solely on the topic. But it was on the topic as it was meant to be for the two of us that were chatting, and but yes, if you do have friends and family to talk to, that's important. I mean, but back to the previous topic though, I do think that even if we're in an okay spot in life, we should all be thinking about what would we do if we weren't. That's uh that's got me thinking, I must say, especially because it doesn't feel like our furnace came on. I mean, we might just have to replace it. It's an old boiler, but it's a neat looking thing, but it's old and it's big, but it seems to anyway. I'm surprised he must be feverish or something with his sickness because he hasn't came down and complained about it like he normally would. Um, but or maybe just thinks it's because he's sick. Yeah, but yeah, something to think about it. If one, you know, had to move, where would you move? And it would be hard with a lot of stuff. It'd be really hard. Um, we could think that, oh, even if it's not ideal, something temporary is better than nothing, especially with our kind of winters, right? And you know, yeah, but then again, sometimes something that we would hope would be temporary, isn't. Um, I'd be very tempted to kind of do our best to get in there and slowly move our stuff in there, and unless it's really deplorable, the one at the corner there that's empty. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. I mean, hopefully, we won't need to actually worry about it. But just like when you're in a job and it's not ideal and you might want to leave it, like don't until you have another one. Not even just the idea of another one or the hope of another one, but actually have another one that like maybe you've been for an interview and they want to give you the job. Um, and if you're worried about your current employer, um, thinking about um, why you're looking for another job, you could just say, I'm trying to consider whether I'll work too, or I mean, people move on from jobs, you know, especially certain jobs. I think it'd be very understandable. Say you can hire somebody else, you know, uh, just be a good reference for me, please, kind of thing, you know. Um, and there's always people looking. Like it shouldn't be. And some people will take anything. Like anybody that's looking for workers, really shouldn't be struggling these days. If they're not being super particular, uh, and they're willing to develop a good connection with their employees and give them some training if need be, it really shouldn't be that hard. This is an interesting thing to think of how I feel like in a lot of cases it's easier for an employer to hire people than people to get hired because there are these hoops to jump in on. There are these aspects, rightly or wrongly, Um, just looking at some comments on here based on the topic and seeing which ones might be worth mentioning, might jump out most. I'll do a couple more because I really like this concept, and I think I am actually near the bottom. Yes, I am. Or am I? Or is it loading more? It's loading more. Okay, so I'll look at a couple more at least. I do agree with this mostly, even though two people that were here right now aren't now. One of them may have been Johnny, finally leaving to his busy day, so I'm not judging that one. The other one, well, this far in, there's nobody currently here. I'm seeing a couple things I wouldn't mind reading, but I'd rather it be when there's people here. There has been some great build up in this, with the chat and the likes. So I'd like to keep going a little bit longer. But I'm also hungry. I also want to see how G's doing. It's quite windy though, so I'd not be going anywhere. I guess I could put it into the chat, which hopefully would show afterwards, and you could read it there. Back up. You're too close. Just kidding. Not that close. You're too sensitive. Just kidding. No, nobody's saying it, but in this far in, I don't know if they'd be likely to think it. Sorry about the typing noises. I mean, the thing about this kind of message, which I'm going to put here, and I think I'm also going to put it here. The thing about this kind of message is that, it applies to most, but certainly not everybody. But I also want to remember that the game thing, that if you happen to notice the description, like, I haven't noticed any game. I came here to play a game. Where's the game? It was basically then this one. My question is really, I don't know where I should put it, but maybe there, because I don't know if very many people are likely to see this far in, to be quite honest. Some people may say further in, depending on how much longer I go, if they tune in. But so I was just adding to the thought there that it can't be that costly to just train people. Most people are trainable and ready to learn. that was kind of the thought around there. I'm just going to look at a few more comments on here based on the topic. You're welcome to put as well. I'll go for maybe 15, 25 minutes more at most. I'm kind of thinking so. Not exactly rushed today, but it's already been quite a while, so I'm thinking that would be a good spot. So yeah, I'm looking at comments based on this elsewhere. Yeah, there was somebody there for like 2 or 3 minutes. They seemed kind of curious, and maybe they still are. Sometimes that's inaccurate. It was already once today, and it has been in the past. But yeah, oh right. So okay, yeah, he hasn't been laying down that long, so it's okay. But this is also helpful to look at, I think so. Working for charities. Some applications of businesses, some aspects of businesses work in certain fields are not necessarily taught in school. True. I don't get really the point about that's why they require experience as well. Okay, maybe I do get it. Sorry. Vacant to make it. Hmm. This is sad. Somebody who lost her partner who passed away. They were both writers. I'm setting up my own startup now without him and have disabled neurodivergent contributing who were told they would never get a job. You hang in their ages and his pants? It's a bit of a weird phrase, but I'm kind of curious about that. I might have to look that up. So I might go off and do that. I'll see what the one under it says. It says, without at least 2 years' experience, you're a liability on the job unless you are able to be a laborer or gopher. 20 years as a journeyman electrician and 14 as a master electrician. 14 part of that 20. Age is not a factor. Knowledge of electrical construction and maintenance is the only way. Well, this is very interesting, actually. That person that I was just mentioning put that comment. Her first name, this is wild. Um, I said to my mother the other day that I don't know too many people with her name, um, and especially that spelling. Um, that spelling. And then I saw a brand name that had it. It was such a weird fluke. And yeah, that was interesting. She was trying to tell me, just eat. Well, it hasn't gone bad. Don't eat too much chocolate. And then you go and buy a muffin. Appreciate life. But anyway, two underneath that, and the one between kind of has the middle name. Two underneath that, somebody has a two-part last name, and one part is my mother's maiden name, but with an S added to it. And it's kind of unique too, so that's kind of funny. Interesting comment. Not sure what I have to say on it, but you are not unemployable. You have plenty to contribute to an employer who is truly worthy of you instead of one that is focused on lining their executive pockets with even more money to go buy their aids. It should be vacation home. The right employer will find you. Your determination to do better is commendable. That says way more than any resume ever could. I love that. Keep pushing. That voice and honesty of yours will open the right door. My hopes as well. Roles that value reliability, attitude, a part-time project to get you going. So although I don't believe that, you know, everybody is suited most strongly to school-based learning and it's not the only way, this is interesting. You know, on this platform, I don't really use it. Like I say, G opened it. It's a website. Uh, dare I say it? LinkedIn. Okay, there you go. Anyway, somebody says they're 17, going by the middle name, not so much by the picture or the foreign first name. Which ironically, I worked with somebody with that name. I guess that could be a last name. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know the gender. Doesn't matter. 17, looking at a future and thinking, is there truly any point when everything requires experience we have yet to build? But you've just been through school, is actually the thought I had. It's frustrating to think that even starting out without being in the top percentile is hard to get noticed. Your quest to just work hard for somebody. Not too much to ask, is it really? Oh, this was put 2 days ago. I think a lot of these comments, I don't know when they came in. But anyway, apparently his father had just passed away and had not been in fit state to apply to anything. So that whole thread's going to be about that, which, is not unimportant, but not really on topic here. Here are some quite poignant ones. I'm going to read these two. I think they're worthwhile. Nobody here right now? I don't know how likely people are here, but this person says one of their clients was told he was unemployable for both educational and health reasons. His poor health meant he could have eas- have easily qualified for comprehensive benefits, but he did not want that sort of life. We have to accept it if we need it, though, I think. He is now in his third successful business, which is lovely, but what is it? How did he get there? Having won awards in one of the previous ones, and that only had to end due to his car being ran by a careless driver. Someone says you just have to price your art and woodworking higher. People will pay. The employment vacancy should set out the criteria requirements as follows: A for ability, B for suitability, or is it beautability? Okay, they're not meant to correspond with the letters. C education, E test to confirm the aptitude of all the candidates. Sure. I don't. Oh, well, I don't really want to put it right in. People don't mention it. Don't mention it. We're all different yet similar. We work to suit the individual needs where we have. Yeah. Just want to look at something quickly though. Okay. I should wrap up very soon. The interview process is not neurodivergent friendly. And although Job Accommodation Network recommends providing different accommodations from providing lists of questions beforehand, no employee is following it, and you still get anxious or whatever too. None, not even those who have their fancy DEI pages with even specifically naming autism. Can't believe how long I've been rolling. So sorry to hear. I thought your family as I can. Uh, so many people who have disabilities don't have just one. That's also true. Working harder to overcome certain things more than most neurotypical people. The phrasing has always been a little bit funny weird to me. Just to get a point where we can make a job up. Just to get to the point where we can do a job application. But not to assume that all neurotypicals are the same either. I have chronic anxiety because of the way my brain works, and probably other reasons. If I was just autistic, then, like many, I most likely would have had many opportunities. Everyone is unique no matter what, but the society wants us to all be the same. It doesn't allow so much for uniqueness. Yeah. I don't know why she's being specific about the height of his artwork. It's an insult when you apply for a job that doesn't actually require experience, just half a brain cell. Who knows what it's going to be like in for it's That's the ordinary branch of it, although I don't believe that it's some crusade to stop the massive tide of immigrated furthermore. I noticed that you have Asperger's companies like Sainsbury claim to be disability confident. That's semantics, or as I prefer to put it, bollocks. Okay. Somebody said temporary work once start. I mean, sometimes it's people that got in jail, but once started with uh, something for 6 weeks that stayed for 2 years. Older people, what are your career plans? None? Yeah, probably isn't a great answer. Where do you see your. I mean, she could say, just to enjoy working as long as I could. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Gardening, hopefully. And I don't mean pushing up daisies. And then they hear nothing. So it's a sense of humor, but I think when you're applying for jobs, maybe not using one is the best option, unless it's, unless it makes sense. Or I don't know. No, you know what I mean, though. Yeah, I hope so. Ah, and that might be. Yep, I accidentally clicked away, so that'll be where I wrap up. I did want to do other things anyway, so it works out. And we ended on kind of a light comical, but maybe shouldn't completely be that applying for jobs. Nope. So I think that's pretty darn good. It doesn't mean that you can't be that way as a person, though. It doesn't mean as long as you're not being mean or rude. It doesn't mean that you can't still not have a sense of humor. In fact, I would recommend that you do. You need one to get through life sometimes, but you also need to know when to be serious and when something is important. And it's unfortunate. I don't know if it doesn't look like that person's recognizing that they might be hurting themselves doing that. Again, though, it's also about being an individual and being yourself. So I don't really know, but anywho, I don't imagine anybody's going to make it this far in. But good luck in the career side of your life. And if you need support, don't be shy to comment. And yeah, I hope you subscribe and enjoy other things on this channel as well. It's not all about this kind of stuff. It's really quite diverse. And yeah, okay, bye for now.